CEO Prepper, and you're on the Survivor's Edge. Now, I'm trying something new, so bear with me here. But lately, I've noticed some things and observed some things. Excuse me, especially about the Parkland school shooting victims. Not the situation, because as more and more things come out, we know that the sheriff down there just wanted a bigger body count to try and strip people of their Second Amendment rights, and they are using these kids as pawns, apparently, and because from day one, these kids have been spewing um, extreme leftist um, views since the shooting actually happened. And one of the things that I actually learned recently is that David Hogg, uh, little con artist that he is apparently, was not even at school that day. Um, so it's some real interesting stuff's coming out. Now, I'll say this first and foremost. I do not want to take anything away from these kids. They've gone through a lot. But I did notice a few things, and since we've had about a month to really observe the response and the aftermath of the school shooting. Okay, and we see where they just came out the gate blaming organizations like the NRA, the President Trump, Republicans and other gun owners, people who had absolutely no, people and groups that had absolutely nothing to do with the actions of the lone shooter. Um, and of course, they're obviously blaming the tool um, used in the shooting. Excuse me, trying to get over a cold here. So that's one thing that I started noticing a few things, and so I figured, okay, let me go ahead and make a video about this. And this is going to be another message to my fellow black citizens. People, you're being used and being taken, you're basically being sold a song. Alright, check this out. This is what I've noticed. Okay, now, we've had a month to look at these, to watch these kids. First off, I'm pretty sure that, you know, these this school had more than just these two or three kids who are constantly being paraded in front of the media, like they're on, like they're having their own television show or something. Yeah, I know I threw that out there because there is a rumor out there that these kids actually may be crisis actors. But it is kind of interesting that this particular shooting, or this particular incident, out of all the shootings we've seen over the last 20 years, whether it be a school or a nightclub or whatever, but this is where they've actually brought out survivors. They didn't even do this for the Las Vegas shooting, but they're using kids to trigger an emotional response. And you know, you have to ask yourself, why are they still parading around these same two or three kids like they're the only ones that survived the shooting at this school? I'm pretty sure there were plenty other survivors. That's one. Second, Where are the black students? I'm pretty sure there were, you know, the white and Hispanic students were not the only ones that actually survived this shooting. I'm pretty sure there were some black students. We haven't seen not one black student that survived this massacre. So those are two questions right off the top. Why are they parading these kids around like they're the stars of the show or something? And then again, why aren't they portraying more students, and especially students of, you know, color? And I'm not saying that Miss Gonzalez isn't a student of color. She is. But you don't see any black students. You got a Hispanic in there. You got a white guy in there. Where's the black kids? Nothing. You don't have one. And so here's an example where the left uses these kids to try and generate a response, but they leave out the the black community. This is what they really think of us. This is um that slave mentality. Hey, you know what? We already got them, so we can put them to the side. We can leave them to the side because as long as we give them stuff, that they'll be calm and complacent. We need to quit being calm and complacent. They have not done anything since the 1960s to earn your vote. You just go out there and give it to them, have no idea why you're voting for them, 9 times out of 10. And now look what they do. They keep you living in the ghettos. They don't even try to get to help you out of the ghettos. They want you to stay there. And then they don't even recognize that we were there at another mass school shooting. Now, I already brought up two interesting points. Where are the black students, and why are they parading these particular students around all the time? And then there's the other thing. Point number three. Why are these little, we'll call them stars of the show, who have obviously outlived their 15 minutes fame, but mainstream media, keeps them going. Why are they acting like this is the first one? When I was young, I had a school shooting when I was young. We called it Columbine. That was the first one. Outside of the Kent State shooting before I was ever born, Columbine was the first one. Now, point four. Everybody on the left is talking about, oh, guns this, guns bad, guns need to be banned, and da 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 da. I'll actually tell you when this crap first started, because like I said, the first one was Columbine. And if you look at what a lot of us have been saying it, but nobody in the media is trying to say it. But if you look at the background of all the school shooters that, whose school shootings made the news, none of them were members of the NRA. And all of them, I'm not going to go into their political ideas or their ethnicities. I'll just say none of them were black that we know of. But I will say this. They were all on prescription strength psychological drugs. And that's when it started. When we started doping our kids, they started doing crazy, insane, unheard of stuff like the Stoneman Douglas shootings, Columbine, Sandy Hook. That's when all this started. You want to get down to the nitty-gritty of what's wrong? When you take discipline out of the hands of the parents, you try taking the job of raising children from the parents. You try to explain you try to psychoanalyze every problem a kid has. And then, oh, we got a drug for that. Guess what? You are giving kids powerful psychotic drugs during a time of their life when their body's already going through massive chemical changes, and then you introduce a foreign element which further throws their body out of whack. That's the problem. When you take God or some religious belief, when you turn family on its head, when you take discipline out of the homes, the parents need to step up more. I will say that. But also say the state does not need to step in and say you can't discipline your children. That's where this problem came in. When you look at all that, all this societal norm, and where we have, allowed feminism to run amok. I am not saying that I am not for women's rights. I am absolutely for women's rights. I want them to vote. I want them to have careers. I do not want them, and I do not think, and it was never meant for them to be the boss in their relationships versus their male counterparts. Now, more women are stepping up because you got a lot of immature men out here. You need to make these men accountable for their families. We need to put the family unit back together. We need to let parents discipline their kids. Quit putting your kids on these prescription strength psychological drugs. Let them be kids. Quit blaming tools when somebody goes crazy and does something like Stoneman Douglas. Now, I know somebody's going to be saying, well, you got a violent video game playing in the background. I grew up with games like this. I'll tell you now, without a moral system already installed in me, and without discipline from my parents, this game did not define who I am. Games like this did not tell me what what I need to do and go out and start killing a bunch of people. No. It's a game. This is where discipline comes in. So that's my thoughts on this. This is questions people need to be asking. Why are they parading these particular kids around like they're the only ones that were actually involved in this tragic event? Why are they parading them around like they're stars of a show? Why aren't they putting black students on there? Why aren't they talking about the real issue? Why aren't they holding the sheriff accountable for his actions and the actions of his men? Giving an order not to enter the school when there's an active shooter? That's unacceptable and unworthy of the uniform. This is speaking as a former police officer. That's the job. And that's the risk, that's the risk that's taken when you take the oath and put on that badge. These are questions that people need to ask. Why is it about why is the subject suddenly becoming guns, the NRA, gun owners, and President Trump? People and organizations that have absolutely nothing to do with that shooter is getting blamed for that incident. And then you have these mindless sheeple running around talking about, this is for the kids. And no, you need to put your kids in activity. Quit putting them on drugs, which that is a subject in itself. That is the start of a subject. That should be actually the root cause of the problem. At least one of them. Why are you putting them on prescription strength psychotropic drugs? They do not need to be on psychological drugs. Not going through puberty. Quit letting these pharmaceutical companies raise your kids. Quit letting these liberal goofballs raise your kids. They are brainwashing your kids into thinking that communism is actually a good thing, or socialism is actually a good thing. Come on, folks. You got to be stronger than that. But think about it, black community. Quit letting them pimp you for your vote. This is CEO Prepper for the Survivor's Edge. And now you have the Survivor's Edge. Ask questions. Have a good night.